The University Tower chimes ring in another session of Ask the Professor, the show on which you match wits with University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. I'm your host, Matt Mio, and let me introduce to you our panel for today. To my left, from the Department of Philosophy, it's Professor Beth Oljar.
Good to be here, Matt.
Yes, thanks for coming, Beth. You get to enjoy the bounty of Dan's pizza. And, it's either donuts or cookies or pizza. No one ever brings, trail mix, you know what I mean?
Right,
No.
or crudité. We never have we're never munching on carrot and celery sticks here.
We've threatened a few times, though, to do, something wine and cheesy to the point where everybody eats at least a little tipsy, and then we record. That's still on the to-do list. That would be a lot of
That could
fun.
be over at my house during the summer if you want.
Yeah.
Well, if you wait a few minutes, I did put something in the pizza.
Oh, my God.
Where's the antidote? Antidote?
The gummies. The gummies.
Now, I'm not supposed to drink alcohol, so that'll be
It wasn't alcohol.
interesting.
Beth, how is your recovery?
Pretty good. Yeah.
I mean-
Hands. I can't bend my right forefinger, but I
Okay.
don't think that has to do with the carpal tunnel. So
All right.
the
nice.
wrists are better, and
Yeah, all right. You're only semi-robotic.
Can you use your middle finger?
Yeah.
oh yes,
Oh,
Sure
yes.
she
And you're
can.
fit to drive.
Just a few minutes ago.
Essential when driving around.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
It's the alternate turn signal.
Professor Dave
because
Chow.
Detroit drivers are the worst.
They really are.
I'm
It
sorry.
is not a joke. Professor Dave Chow is here. We're looking forward to seeing what possible Super Bowl commercials are.
I've got a few out there. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. So
That's pretty cool, actually.
it's day in the life. So
We've reached, it was just on, it's like something that happens every year, right? 30 seconds national for Super Bowl.
gazillion dollars.
$7 million
Yeah.
this year.
and I barely saw a nickel of it. So
Well, we hope at least 2 nickels come your way. For all
Hopefully.
of your,
Taylor Swift going to overthrow the Republic at the halftime show?
Oh, we
or
can only
something? I don't
hope.
get this whole thing
we
about
can
her.
only hope.
I just heard also, you probably know about this, they spend an enormous amount of time, whatever network is broadcasting the Super Bowl, what to do, how to retain as much of the audience after the game.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally. Every time, yeah.
Yeah.
And the one this year they're doing is Justin Hartley is in it, Tracker,
Yeah,
Treacher,
Tracker.
something like that.
That's
But
right.
You know what the all-time most successful in terms of retaining the audience that watched the Super Bowl was 1996. I guess I can't ask this question in the future. 1996. Not Friends, the other one. Yeah, was it Friends?
Seinfeld?
No, it was Friends. It was Friends.
Oh,
Okay,
it
yeah.
was a friend's.
And they elongated the half-hour show to 1 hour.
Oh, my
dear
God.
Lord.
And they added some guests, and they announced that these special guests, Julia Roberts and
Oh, wow.
who's the other one?
Brad
Brooke
Pitt or something.
Shields.
Okay.
Brooke Shields were
Okay.
guests for the longer 1 hour show.
See,
and
there
that
you go.
maintained, that was in 96, that maintained or retained the highest percentage of Super
my
Bowl
gosh.
watchers.
I'm more intrigued by how many cameras they have at this year's game.
Hundreds.
Hundreds
and
all
hundreds
over the
of
place. It's
cameras,
like
yes.
there's no way you can miss anything.
Now they got the drones, too.
Oh,
the
totally.
drones are always
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
air.
Wasn't it after the Oscars? We always got a Barbara Walters interview
Special, yeah,
special
yeah,
because I
special,
remember
yeah.
watching quite a few of the one she did with Patrick Swayze was really good, and of course he's now elevated to.
That's right.
People are not happy about Jake Gyllenhaal's redoing Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Yes, I did see that. Although that's streaming, right? That's not on network TV. I think it's Netflix or something.
Yes,
Yeah. So.
as far as I know. But the Swayze is beloved,
No, that's absolutely, and I cannot let that go by without mentioning that one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Mystery Science Theater 3000, had an entire Christmas episode dedicated to Roadhouse. It's very hard to describe, but they sang a song, "Let's Have a Patrick Swayze Christmas," and it's something that I will never forget.
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking
I'm
Chris
glad
Farley.
you brought it up.
Just be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Professor Dan Maggio is here with us. He is his new kenning, the bringer of pizza.
Yes.
And cookies.
Do you have any idea where it's from? Local.
I was told, but I forgot. It's
Okay.
it's on 9 Mile in Oak Park.
Oh, okay. I actually
So
think I
was
know what it
told-
might be.
I
Then.
was told that it was fairly affordable.
Yeah, it's quite
Don't wanna say
affordable and
cheap
quite
because it
delicious.
doesn't taste cheap.
Gotta say,
It tastes decent. Yeah.
absolutely.
It is good.
There's
It
no-
was given
no-
to
no
me.
There's
name
no identification on
None.
them.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
None
really
of the
kind of
pieces
poor
Dan
marketing.
had a little license, no driver's license for the piece of pizza here, so I don't know what's going on. So how's everything going, Dan? How's
pretty
everything
good.
on the other side of Berkeley?
Winter's moving along. I'm hotter than heck today.
Yeah,
I know why I'm wearing a sweater. It's like 65 degrees outside. Should be in shorts.
Yeah?
Curling season is moving along.
That's right.
And,
Is it slushy inside yet?
Keep the sheet cool.
no, but this is not good for
Yeah.
the arena.
No, it's
No.
true. Professor Stephen Manning is also here,
From the Department of
He is.
being retired.
He is.
So jealous.
And
I mean, the fact that you're here, that covers all the bases.
that pretty much does.
It's a big
yes.
deal.
Puppy is continuing to improve.
Bare-legged.
Yes, although we had a little incident with him last night, and I won't go into the details of it. He had to be
Poor dog. There's more drama.
Disciplined.
admonished, disciplined, yes. And we all have. We always get into this thing with the dog. Heather is far more sympathetic to the animal than I am when he misbehaves. So
Is this a surprise?
Is this a good cop, bad
so
cop?
I isolated him, and she kept saying, after like 3 minutes, okay, can you let him out now? I said, every time you say, can you let him out, I'm going to add 5 minutes to his to his imprisonment.
Surprised you don't
So
isolate
eventually-
Heather with the dog. I shouldn't say that. You
Oh,
would
He's
actually think
being
about it.
he's being punished. I mean,
But
does he
do you
understand
think
that
he
he's being
knows that?
Well, they say that dogs. You have to understand, if you have a dog, dogs are like 4-year-olds. In average, they're 4-year-olds. Some are smarter than others, but on average, 4-year-old, and they have a memory that lasts 4 minutes. So if you come home and the dog has pooped on the rug,
Oh my!
and unless you know that this happened within the last 4 minutes, you're completely wasting your time. Anything you do. So
Got it.
you're just going to keep that in mind. So technically, she's right that, okay, after 4 minutes, he's going to have no idea why you're punishing him, so let him out.
Oh my!
And she'd be right.
Cats might know but wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Actually.
That's right.
Cats would defy you.
Oh my gosh. Well, folks, this is a program. You can send us questions regarding anything. If you stump the panel, you win a prize. If you don't stump the panel, you win a prize.
How long a dog's memory lasts?
Or pooping on rugs.
Exactly. You can send the questions in a number of ways. You can email us at atp@udmercy.edu. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or listen on your favorite smart speaker by asking it to play Ask the Professor at University of Detroit Mercy. Okay, we have a set of questions here. Good afternoon, panel. I wondered the other day, let's get right to the heart of things. Whatever happened to the San Diego Chicken? A staple of 1980s baseball. After reading about the history of the chicken, I thought I would share some questions. These were sent in by my wife, Leslie, of Berkeley, Michigan.
Uh-oh.
So we'll just dive right into this and see where it takes us. What is the official name of the chicken?
Fred?
San Diego chicken?
San Diego Chicken is correct.
That's it?
This is, well, it has other nicknames.
For the,
famous
Padres?
chicken.
Is this their mascot?
It's not really their mascot. You'll see as we.
He was originally a radio
Lord, the
promotion,
chicken.
if I remember right.
That's right. The famous SD chicken, sometimes called, and I think this is really funny, the KGB chicken. That will become clear here in just a minute.
I thought it might have been Jim Harbaugh.
In what year did the character first appear?
1981?
Oh, it was earlier.
Oh.
68.
It was later.
Oh.
74.
74 is spot on.
Oh,
spot on. It was an animated TV commercial. Brian Norell was working for Odyssey Productions and offered to animate an acrobatic chicken as part of a commercial bid. So this is like in Dave's wheelhouse, you know. What do you think the commercial was advertising for?
Not fried chicken, I hope.
Nope, it was not.
Radio
Not-
station?
Not food. It was for a radio station. WKGB, or just KGB, pardon me. It's out west. So
Hence
it would
the
just
KGB
be, hence
chicken.
the
Got
KGB.
it.
It had nothing
Nothing,
to do-
nothing Putin-esque.
Nothing Putin-esque. No giving comfort to the enemy or anything like that. This was my favorite question on the set. When, after that, did the chicken become corporeal? I knew it would make Beth laugh.
Corporeal?
When?
Has it
Because it
taken
was just
form?
animated, you know. When did it become corporeal?
When did he become a furry, in other words, right?
Exactly.
When did someone put on the costume?
Yeah, that's it. So we need a month in 1974. So that
April.
It was March. Whatever.
Close
It's
enough.
good enough. Yeah. So the
Right
commercial
around
was
when
early
I turned
on.
8.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really all we needed.
Beginning of the baseball season.
Yeah, exactly.
presumably,
Yeah,
right?
perfect timing.
At the time when the chicken was to become corporeal, they went to San Diego State and asked a whole bunch of different students who would like to get into a chicken suit to play the character. One student volunteered. Do you know his name?
Gianola?
It's pretty close.
Fred?
Ted Gianolis.
Gianolis.
He was a 20-year-old journalism student at SD State
course.
at the time. Yes.
How do you know that?
Yes,
don't
how do you
know.
That's
how
a
do you
random
possibly
fact.
know
That is a
I
pretty
don't
random
know.
fact. Yep. Where was the chicken's first corporeal appearance?
San Diego State?
Nope, that's reasonable. It was
Straight-
something that San Diego was known for tourist-wise.
On the beach?
SeaWorld?
Not SeaWorld, not beach.
The Navy base.
Navy Yard?
Naval
No.
Base?
No. They wanted Gianolis to give out Easter eggs to children at this very famous San Diego tourist spot.
The Comic Con?
Nope.
The zoo?
The zoo.
zoo, yeah, San Diego Zoo.
Before he got mauled by the gorillas.
Yes.
Oh, I'm kidding.
So as the oral history of the
Before
San
they
Diego
fried
chicken is approached, basically what we find is that after the event, Gianolis was riding a little bit of a high. He did something good that day. His first thought was, I bet I could get into Padres games for free in this getup. That was his idea. So he actually did things legally and approached the San Diego Padres, who did not have, that there actually is a
Yeah.
Franciscan Friar mascot getup now. It's
Oh.
like an oversized, cartoony friar.
I did not know that, but
Yes.
I do now.
Now you do. But before that, because it just didn't exist, he said, can I just be the de facto mascot and dance around at the games? And they're like, yeah, what the hell, knock yourself out. That's how the story goes. In order to get a prize from the chicken, which almost always was an egg with something on the inside,
Ew.
what did you have to say to the chicken?
May I have an egg, please?
This is a stick up?
May I have an egg, please?
Is it baseball related?
No, it's more chicken pun related.
Chicken pun.
Excellent or something
Which
like
came
that. No?
first?
Wait a minute. What hole did that come out of?
You all are coming up with stuff way better than what it actually is. That's all I'm going to
Well,
say.
I'm sure it had to be like
Oh, my
PG-13 or
Well,
less, right?
yeah, basically. So you had to go up to the chicken and say,
Soft or hard boiled?
right, lay one on me. That's what you would say. Yes. Very funny.
Very
Very
nice.
funny.
Yes.
Something unfortunate happened to
Though,
the chicken.
If
Oh, go
it's a
ahead.
boy chicken,
Well, that's not going to happen.
No, go, whew.
I get into this with my students just the other day. I was like, the whole thing about Santa's reindeer. Only female reindeer retain their antlers during
yep,
winter,
yep.
so apparently they're all female. We had someone tell a dad joke that involved polar bears and penguins, and I went off because I'm like, polar bears and penguins, and for opposite sides of the earth, they do not exist together. And they're like, what are you talking about? And suddenly I found myself on every president since Reagan
Oh, no.
has said the word nuclear instead of the word nuclear. It drives me bonkers.
yeah,
Absolutely
it's
bonkers.
pretty awful.
Minimum amount of science, just a minimum amount. What happened and not so good on May 3rd, 1979 to the San Diego chicken?
Did he get run over by a 4x4?
No, that's a pretty good guess.
Set on
though.
fire.
No.
He crossed the road.
And just never made it to the other side.
He had a slip and fall?
No.
He fell down during a game.
He fell
He fell
into a
up.
vat of boiling grease.
No, you know what happened?
Colonel Sanders found him.
he was fired by the radio station. So a series of events follows. Another unnamed employee donned the costume at that day's Padres game. Fans, many of whom were aware that Gianolis was not in the outfit, booed the chicken so loudly.
Oh, no.
He had to leave the field. After a June, so this is right around the corner, lawsuit in Gianolis' favor, he was allowed to resume playing the chicken as long as it was a different costume. So Leslie wanted you to know that there were images as part of this. This is the original costume, which is very chickeny.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all very familiar with what the chicken looks like.
Yeah, they all.
Is that
in
Reagan?
the modern. Yeah, that is
course.
the chicken with Ronald Reagan.
That's
What TV show did the chicken star in starting in 1981?
Star.
He starred.
Darn.
This is the real deal.
Was it a
Hold
kid's
on.
show?
It was a kid's show, and we can get the basics of a kid's show.
I'm trying to remember. It's like a Hong Kong Fooey-esque type of show.
It was a little bit. You're getting closer. Some very, very famous people were in it.
No, he,
It wasn't like a Mr. T or anything like that, was it?
It's like a Pee Wee Herman's and
Not hee-haw.
No. It was a Saturday morning series.
I'm trying to remember.
morning.
I vaguely remember it.
Chicken Run or something.
Not Sesame Street.
Scooby-Doo chicken.
Saturday morning.
I don't know why it's so funny, but it's still really funny.
That's because you can picture him in the back of the Mystery Machine.
They were called, it was like, I believe there was
like
an
an
element of
all-star?
crime solving. I believe there was an element of crime solving. It was the baseball bunch, so he was part of a team of kids that did things, but regulars on the show, two very, very famous baseball players of that day. First of all, a Cincinnati Reds catcher,
Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench was on the show weekly, and the eventual LA Dodgers manager,
Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda, were on the show. It's kind of a big deal.
I can't even
Here is a
imagine.
picture of the cast. Leslie is
Thank God they weren't animated. I can only imagine the caricatures of Tommy Lasorda.
in 1998. Just a little bit of a history jump there. We were in 81, now we're in 98. Giannoulis was sued by another famous children's television icon for copyright infringement. Who could it have been?
Something connected with McDonald's.
Ooh, I mean, not McDonald's.
Burger King?
Kentucky Fried
Children
Chicken?
television icon.
Big Bird.
Elmo.
Big Bird's got better things to do with this time than deal with the San Diego Chickens. Let's be serious.
TV icon that looks like a chicken?
No, I didn't say anything about it looking like a chicken. But who else could? 1998 is a pretty big clue. Sorry, who would have been a children's television icon of the moment?
Barney.
Barney? Yes, it was Barney the dinosaur. The suit was over a sketch in which the chicken engages in a slapstick dance contest against a Barney-like suited character. Giannoulis prevailed in the suit and recovered his attorney's fees based on the court's determination that his sketch was, as they say, legitimate parody.
Parody works wonders.
Here is a picture of the chicken and the dinosaur dancing. Oh my gosh, it's so great. All right, so you already know about Reagan. How many other presidents has the chicken been photographed with?
I'm sure Carter, possibly.
No, Carter's not on the list. He was too classy.
Oh, okay.
Both Bushes.
Clinton?
One Bush, W. Bush, no Clinton.
No Clinton.
Obama?
Obama?
Pick a president without saying anything else, not Obama. Pick a president who you're like, yeah, it would make sense that that president during that era would get photographed with a giant chicken.
Trump.
Ford?
Ford. I would say Gerald Ford. You know,
Yeah.
Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, W. Bush. And here's the key to the whole thing that really, I mean, I remember the day that Leslie was actively using her powers of provenance as a historian to discover all this information. This is true. The chicken still performs all over the place as of 2024. How many people have played the chicken?
3.
It says here only Ted Giannoulis, the end. That's it.
Really?
He has only ever been in the chicken
Because
suit
no offense,
playing the
how old is he now, roughly?
Well, he started in.
He was
So he's-
20 in 74. So he's 70.
So I don't think he's doing the
65.
splits on top of the San Diego dugout anymore, is he?
70.
He's not
That would
laying
be
many
very
eggs these
impressive,
days
though,
either.
you got to admit, if he would.
As recently as a few years ago, Giannoulis, as stated on famouschicken.com,
Of course.
to this day and forever, I'll be the San Diego Chicken. There's only one Michael Jordan. There's only one Wayne Gretzky. There's only one Babe Ruth. And nobody else will be in this suit when I'm done.
Comparing himself.
I know. I was
to
going to say,
those
is he going to be in his
icons.
casket in this
My
outfit?
God.
Was Leslie really worried about Providence? She didn't think we'd believe her?
No, it was just funny that she can use her powers of historical research to research the San Diego Chicken.
It's amazing what you
Now
can
tell
do
me
with-
he's not on the Cooperstown ballot.
Oh
of periodic
gosh!
years.
You know what? That is
It
a
wouldn't surprise
reasonable
me.
question to ask. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about Jim Leland's statement from the other day because it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal when you make it to the Hall of Fame, like the Tigers.
Yeah, what hat you're gonna wear.
What hat you're going to wear because it has the logo of the team you're best known for, no matter how many you've worked for. And he's decided to go without a logo on his cap because he served a lot of different teams. It's kind of a big deal, actually, because when you go up there and it says Pirates, you're going to be idolized by that fan base in perpetuity, right? So it's kind of a big deal.
I say we just give him a 4-brim hat.
Well, that
Just one on each side, you
that
know.
seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Well, Yes, it's
Diplomatically,
also
yes.
out of the ordinary
Yes.
for the Hall of Fame. That's the way it would be. For instance, we'll talk about it forever. Sooner or later, Verlander's going to make the ballot and probably get in first try. He's going to be wearing an Astros cap because he earned his World Series wins with Houston, not with the Tigers.
Well, it could be based on how many years did you play for each of these teams or manage?
Yeah.
Who did you win World Series with or Cy Youngs with, etc.?
Anyway, that is where we are right now. I don't know what else to say. The San Diego Chicken, I am certain our listenership had their ears glued to their speakers during this.
And I'm still trying to figure out how in the world do I remember the guy's name.
Whatever.
That is bananas, right?
I don't know how I did. How
Because we
I-
all possess sort of random factoids like that where we can't figure out how they got in there or why we still...
I still remember Jim Tubbs once said I must have cleared away some other bits of knowledge and I retained that. So.
Absolutely.
I remember the name of the person who won the first Heisman Trophy when I had to look it up in junior high for something.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that you.
And it's who is it?
Yeah, it was.
Jay Burwanger. Like
Wow.
1933
That is a
or
memorable
something.
name.
Wow, that makes my Ted Gianola sound so much more tame. compared.
Well, I don't know. Whatever possessed your wife to
There was a
pursue this with
mention of the
rigor.
San Diego Chicken on TV, and she goes, "Whatever happened to the San
Was it a
Diego
slow
Chicken?"
day at
I'm like,
Cranbrook?
It's he's still around. Ted is still dancing around.
Yeah, but I'm
70
sure.
years old.
Yeah, but he's probably gonna break a hip.
Well, I think
True.
from the woman who thought that Boba Fett
Oh.
was short for Robert
Robert
Fettuccine,
Fettuccine.
we ought not be surprised. But Leslie also was interested in what happened to the San Diego Chicken.
No, 100%.
Which is part of her
One.
idiosyncratic charm.
I brought up the chicken once she got into doing the research, and I'm like, wait a second. You mean he wasn't technically like formally associated with the Padres?
No.
He's literally just a chicken guy doing the mascot thing.
Yeah, it's not like the Philly Fanatic
Right.
or no. Who's the other one that I'm thinking of?
There's one in the NHL. That's
Yeah,
a
the
little bit off
gritty.
hook.
Yeah,
The gritty.
Yeah.
yes,
Oh God.
yes. Weird
Oh,
stuff.
he's gotten his fair share of licks too.
We've had our questions over the years. The classic one is the New York Yankees. There are a number of teams that still do not have any mascot at the games. So interesting stuff. Okay, let's go to our list of Burroughs family imponderables for today. I think that this will be kind of fun. So, what is your favorite thing? I'm gonna see if I can do this in a reasonable kind of way. What's your favorite thing to like add in or do with ice cream before you eat it? I was gonna say, what's your favorite thing to do with ice cream?
Hey, wait a minute,
I'm just
that's personal.
hoping that eating it was the first thing, but I mean, where's the state of ice cream technology?
Frozen?
In your mind?
Could be like the dating game question.
Exactly.
Most interesting place you've had
Careful.
sex.
Oh my gosh. So I could say that I am very excited that as recently as the 2020s, a lot of the ice cream joints around my house have warmed up to something that I've done since I was a kid, which is mix in certain cereals with the ice cream.
Oh,
It's actually a
cereals,
lot of
yes.
fun. It
Yeah.
gives it a good crunch, and if you got the right cereal, it's great taste.
Chocolate sauce.
Chocolate sauce. of
Yeah, I
course.
like to make, if I have vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce on it, I make it into chocolate soft serve.
Nice.
There was some.
So I used to work at Dairy Queen, but now Blue Bunny actually makes
Oh, that's right.
chocolate and vanilla soft serves.
Was there some place that you would do what you're referring to? You do the ice cream, and they'd put it on this marble countertop, and you'd say, "I want the M&Ms or whatever the cereal," and they'd add it, and they right in front of you, they would kind of fold it all
Or
in.
like Benihana style.
Sounds like
Yeah, like
Farrell's.
Benihana or the other place.
Cold Stone Creamery. They
do
kinda-
that?
They didn't go out of business, but they really dialed back. They were
Yeah.
big in the early 2000s, and then it kind of went away for a while. But you're right, because the slab was chilled on purpose, so
Sure.
you wouldn't get
Yeah,
a sloppy pile or whatever.
Nice.
So, but they were the pioneers of the. Oh my gosh, I've never had a better flavored ice cream. They had a birthday cake ice cream. and
What's
they
that?
would put
What's that
chunks
other
of
place
cake
up
in
on
it.
Woodward by
Oh
us?
my gosh.
Woodward 14. What's that other one?
Dairy Deluxe.
No, there's no.
Well,
Sweet treats or
Ray's,
something on
Ray's
No,
on
no.
Coolidge.
Woodward and
Oh, it's a
14?
little custard stand.
No.
Yes, yeah, I think that's what you're referring to.
No, there's a friend of mine who came in from New York, went up there and said, and she was texting me, let me know where she was at. Autocorrect something like, I'm at the Fannery or something like that. It was something weird.
There's
I'm trying to
that
it in
dream
the
place
Oberweis?
on Woodward.
Yeah, Overvice. It was
Overvice,
Overvice. Came up with I'm at overweight.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
that's what it was.
Good to know. Thanks for sharing.
So that's autocorrect.
Treat Dreams is like our local micro creamery. They're
Yes.
the ones that do
Yeah.
little flavor batches
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
They're like close to 9 Mile.
Yeah, 9 Mile Woodman.
Yeah.
It was a terrible little article a couple of weeks ago that because of that, basically 9-month, 10-month long diversion
Lull.
of Woodward, that they basically have nearly gone out of business between that and the pandemic about 10 times. And I think they did it on purpose to get people to go there. I don't know what we would do without that place, frankly. So,
Well, it's one of the few places where my wife can go because she's lactose intolerant.
oh, there you go. That's right. They
So
have a
actually,
lot of,
that to me has been, as far as our family, that's always been.
You can get dairy-free ice cream at Meijer now.
Yeah, but it's not the same as going.
you got to
Well,
go
I'll buy
out
that.
for ice
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And what's that one by us on Coolidge?
Yeah.
They've actually got soft serve now.
Yeah.
I used to
Almond-based
work
soft
at Dairy
serve,
Queen, so I can sympathize with
All right,
the-
Dan.
You have to go out for ice
I know you see, I see it in your
caramel
eyes.
sauce,
Oh.
probably.
Of course.
And I don't like all the fancy, more traditional. When I was a kid, though, used to make floats with like vanilla ice cream and
floats.
Pepsi.
Yeah.
Oh, that was always good.
Nice.
Root beer
Or
floats are
burgers
good, too.
A Boston Cooler.
Did you call it a brown cow?
No, Pennsylvania, we called them floats.
Float.
I think
We
just
did in
said-
Oregon too at Dairy
Like a
Queen. We
float.
called them root beer floats or
but they were
Root beer
they were good.
floats. Oh,
I know
I
I
think
brought,
A&W now.
yeah, I know I brought it up before, but Dairy Deluxe that I mentioned, the kids have called it since they were little Double D's. Like, are we going to Double D's? And I'm like, yeah. They close the day after Thanksgiving, but they open on February 1st every year. And in a very sacred family moment, somebody realizes that it's February 1st, and we all just jump in the car and go there. We went there the other night. We always get our picture taken next to the giant snowbank next to it. It's like, we are getting ice cream, and then we take Lent off because, it wouldn't be proper to be eating ice
Well,
cream
I
during
mean,
Lent.
I almost drove up to Clark's the other night and like
Clark's. Well, they're open year-round.
year round. Yeah, I almost went there and got
Year-round.
ice cream just because
Oh, my gosh.
I had a hankering for it.
There's a place in Ohio, Young's Dairy. It's actually part of it, an actual functioning dairy farm. You can pat the cows. You can put money in the thing and get some nuts out for the goats.
Sure.
Oh,
Sure.
And you can sit on a tractor. People take pictures of
I
the
love it.
tractor.
I love it.
And they have they have a huge.
It's an
must be
experience.
ceramic something, paper mache cow. People put their kids up in the cow, take pictures, visiting, and the ice cream is
Fresh.
superb.
we did that when I was a kid. We went to Alpenrose Dairy. That was one of our
There you go.
field trips.
Yeah.
Something Swiss. In the
Melted
name.
a cow.
Like Oberweis.
Melted a cow. Milked a cow. Sorry.
So admittedly, okay, Matt. So
Really mean to those cows.
Matt, what would you say is the preeminent ice cream place by us?
I'm partial because what they do up there, I've mentioned it before. They have the no fry fried ice cream at Double D's, and that pretty much is how I live my life based on that ice cream treat. They butter saute cornflakes and then crush them and then pack them around an ice cream ball and then serve it with cinnamon, chocolate sauce, and caramel.
Oh, yeah.
And it tastes like the old fried ice cream.
Oh, my God.
Even though it's not fried, and it's delicious.
Careful, you gotta short out the mic.
could
And
be
I gotta
pretty
say,
good.
I remember being a kid, little things that pop into my head. And I remember my dad swearing under his breath as he pulled out a $10 bill to pay for ice cream out for 5 people in a family. So when I dropped 2 20s the other day, I was like, yeah, it's a little different than the 70s now.
That's right.
It's like, oh my God.
4 times as much. Yep.
But they have good portions, and they actually have a bunch of fat-free options on top of, non-dairy. So I know.
I know.
Go with your decaffeinated coffee.
Or sugar-free decaffeinated Mountain Dew. I mean, really? Yeah, I agree, Dan.
Live it up.
Light beer.
Yes.
But if you're ever up north, make sure you go to Moomers.
Moomers.
In Traverse City, they
That's
have
what everybody talks
really,
about.
really good ice cream.
Yep, absolutely. It seems like a thing that would be a big deal now that it's 65 in Detroit today. Like, people probably will go out
I
for
might
ice cream
have
tonight.
to drag the missus over to get some ice cream tonight.
There you
Ray's cinnamon ice cream is
Raised.
Yeah,
That's it.
wonderful.
very
go.
good.
Very, very good. Again, I feel like that I need like a 3rd, 4th, and 5th mortgage to go to Ray's. Like, I tell the kids, like, we have to be strategic about this. Go into the streets and find change. Like, it's getting expensive.
They have to.
They have some good sorbet too.
Yeah,
they do.
Mango sorbet
Oh
is
Gosh.
fantastic.
There's a place I went to in Vancouver for one of my cousin's weddings where you buy tokens and they give you these little wooden sticks and you have like a little dollop of it. So for like $1, you can try like five different ice creams.
Well, ice cream
That's
flight.
very, very cool.
An ice cream flight.
Oh, totally.
Haagen-Dazs makes mango sorbet,
Yeah.
but probably not as good
Seasonal.
as
Yeah.
I think it's seasonal
Ray's.
though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I suspect it is.
Well, now that we are doing everything that we usually
Sugar
do,
rushed.
yeah, and nobody even mentioned Magic Shell before
No.
closed down the conversation about ice cream. I'm afraid that the time has come to say goodbye, Stephen,
Goodbye.
Dan,
Goodbye.
Dave,
See ya.
and Beth.
Have fun mixing things into your ice cream.
And now these words from University of Detroit Mercy.
You can email Ask the Professor at atp@udmercy.edu or visit the Ask the Professor Facebook page.
Ask the Professor is produced and directed by Michael Jason and Brian Masonville, and our executive producer is Professor Jason Roach. Until next week, I'm your host, Matt Mio.